And this particular session we have dedicated to the Agile 20 Reflect Festival as well, because we are celebrating Agile 2020. So 20 years of completion of the Agile Manifesto, and it was built in, it was drafted in 2001, February itself. So that's the reason why we're celebrating this particular session in February as well. And I'm also one of the ambassadors for Nepal. And yeah, we are, we are really happy to have you all here. And Satpal, thanks for being here and encouraging our speaker. So yeah.
That's okay. No, thanks for the warm welcome. I just thought I'd jump on and experience your meetup. So thanks for having me. And yeah, pleased to be here. Thank you.
Okay, Kripa, let's start with your session, and welcome, Kripa. Over to you.
Hi, thank you so much, Abhikyadi. So hi everyone, I'm Kripa Shrestha. Today I'm going to, let's say I'm going to present, or I'm going to speak on using continuous innovations to create successful businesses. I will be sharing my screen. Please give me a minute. So are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
So, so I will be, as I mentioned, I will be presenting on continuous innovations, how we can use the continuous innovations to create successful business. And starting up about me, I am Kripa Shrestha, and I have 8.5 years, almost 9 years in IT industry. I have worked under like various roles, starting from a report analyst, and now I'm working as a product owner. So I'm working as a product owner in closest information solutions in Nepal. And I did my bachelor's focus in IT and master's in management or business. I'm also a safe practitioner. I am also a community leader for Business Agility Meetup Kathmandu. I'm active members for all of the others community that we have here in Nepal. So as you all have already figured out, that I will be discussing on the how we can use the continuous innovations for the businesses. So I will be focused on the 4 areas of the business, like mainly the business, on how we start up the business, and how the startups use the continuous innovation to grow their business. What are the MVPs, and how we can use the MVPs to grow our business more, and lean as well. Lean is one of the principles that we can use for the continuous improvement. So moving on. So before moving on to the continuous innovation of a business, actually I have this experience of working in a really large company, from a really large company to small company, let's say a startup, and where I have seen that let's say most of the companies already fell before they even get to establish themselves into the market. So I have figured out few of the regions when I did some research, and also as per my experience. So I realized that they do not have a good plan on how they want to move forward. Not a good solid strategies. Maybe they didn't do much of the market research, and also like in Nike has this do it approach. So they just go into the market and they think that we can just do it and have it done. So it's like overwhelming temptation is there to apply them to the startups, everything that we did, we can start a business with. And but what happens, it doesn't really work for startups, because we have lots and lots of uncertainty in the startup. So startups not yet know who the customer is, or what the products would be, and how they want to move ahead. So also the world is going uncertain, as we have also seen this COVID pandemic pandemic, which is also so much uncertain, and we thought like lockdown will be for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we went through a really uncertainty phase. So it's the same if we relate it with the business, and mostly with the startup, because it gets harder and harder to predict the future. We never know what is there in the future, however, in our old management, we always had that planning and getting things done on the task, up to the task, and getting everything, forecasting was always there when it came to the old management. And but relatively, startups have neither of them, neither the planning, neither the forecasting, nothing. They even don't know what the customer will look like, what their product will look like, and so on and so forth. And the second problem in the traditional management field is to solve the problem, like they just throw their hands into the startup business, or let's say any of the business, and they just say, let's just do it. So this is one of the main big challenges that I've seen here in most of the companies who could not get this startup into a really progressive company. And unfortunately, it happens that most of the startups tend to fail because all of these reasons. And most of the people think that the processes and the management as the boring and dull, whereas a few of the people think that startups are the ones which is dynamic and exciting, and they really want to have it all of this done. However, we can say that we can and must do better. So moving on. So as you can see in this picture, it has the full life cycle use case, where there are various kind of customers, or let's say the ones who are going to use a product. And let's say this is one of the product where, there is one customer who says, I'm not sure what it is or what we are supposed to do with this, but I hear it is supposed to be really great for us. So this might be one of a customer. They think that they have seen it, but they do not know what is it mean for and how it is going to work for them. So maybe a few of the customers say, yeah, I think this is going to be good, and they do not know what they really want. So either your customer will love it or will hate it, because they still don't know how they want to get the product done. They just know that they want something in the they want to do something, they want to have something in the bucket, and you just go and build the product for them. And for that, you need to always understand and describe how your product will fit into the customer's workflow, because sometimes a customer might want simply a product which will simply figure out the solutions, but you never know if you really have to build that or not. You can get in contact with the customer or the possible client you might get if you are a startup, and think about it. Think about if you really want to create a new product, or you already have one. Maybe you already have one, or you can just renovate whatever you already have. So it will provide a valuable information for the future steps, and also help the team understand the potential barriers that you have, and to adopt for the sales perspective part of view, if you know how you are going to use these use cases for the customers. So as I mentioned, we have different techniques that we can use. Might be every one of you have already heard about the lean manufacturing. So this is a production method which was derived from Toyota company in 1930 in Japan. So it is a way to do more and more with less and less, meaning you will do less, you will have less of the human effort, less of the equipment, less time and less space, but however the outcome will be more and more. And and if you are keep on innovating the things that you really want, because in Toyota manufacturing company, they started with really small thing that they really want to build for the company or their customers. Then with the less time and the less equipment, they started building fewer of the products, and eventually they met with the clients, and they cross verified with the clients, and it really improved a lot. So So this also lean manufacturing always focuses on the continuous and incremental improvements. They have a few of the principles that would always stay and that will always be determined with the values of the product and how they want to form a team for each product to stick with that product and provide them with the entire production cycle. They also have the value stream and how they want to value and challenge all of the wastage that they have gone through that they have taken out from that product, and how they make the product flow continuously through the remaining value added steps, like maybe one of the step was already done and the wastage was removed, and the other step going to that and making everything slowly and steadily, making everything a perfect step for them. So that is what is known as continuous innovation and let's say continuous improvement. As you can see here, the value of adding activities are simply only those things for the customer is willing to pay for. Everything else is a waste. So this is a really good point that is to be noted, that if your product wants a product and they are willing to pay for it, every penny of your product, then that is what you really want to build that. Otherwise, everything else is a waste and should be eliminated, simplified, reduced, or integrated. So what are the waste actually? In the Toyota way, if we call wastage, that could be a faulty good, meaning they do not actually meet the requirements of the customers and the specifications. Maybe the waste of skills that they used for that product, and maybe the underutilizing capabilities of their employees, and maybe the wrong metrics or the no metrics at all, and not utilizing the workers by not allowing them to contribute ideas and suggestions, maybe improper use of the computers or the other machineries or equipments, not having the proper software, trainings. These are all the waste because they are not going to be paid by the customers. So when you are building a startup, when you are going to continuously go and innovate yourself to build a successful business, you always need to keep all of these things in your mind. The other thing that I would like to focus is Kaizen, as I already mentioned on how we can improve and we can use the lean manufacturing, one of the greatest terminologies in lean, and how we can manage and we can reduce the waste. So likewise, Kaizen is also one of the terminologies where it is also the Japanese word for the improvement, and not doing the improvement all at once, but an improvement one or continuous, doing one at a time or a small improvement at a time. That would be done for the eliminations of the wastage and the cost reductions. The wastage and the cost reductions that I highlighted before. So if we follow Kaizen, then we can definitely go and improve on how we want to have our a product when we are going to launch it. So next thing up is, you can see here that we have the decision making unit, DMU, where you can see like various kinds of customers. Let's suppose these are all the customers that you have, and these are all the who will make a decision for your product. Maybe it could be a economic buyer who would think of it, who would buy for a region of your product, and maybe they will be spending some of the amount. They may be champion, one of the ones who would be interested on your product or service. So maybe that end of the user who will purchase the product, the champion, the influencer who will influence all of the others, in the market to either grab your product or service or just leave it. And the end user, the one who will be actually using your product or service, that would be the person who will be, using it. And the compliance officer who will be working on the laws and the compliances that you will need to have in your product. And here you have the veto power person. So the person is the one who can reject a purchase for any reason. So maybe, often in a B2B environment, means business to business environment, the individuals, they always, they can be individual outranks the advocate or the end user in the corporate hierarchy. So anyone who would just reject a purchase for your product or services for any of the reason. So you always need to keep in mind of the DMU on what kind of users that you will be focusing on, and how you want to target your customers, and how you want to target your market, and how you want to go and get the users in the market. So as I mentioned about the DMU, the customer must believe that the product provides a strong value proposition, because everything lies in the value of the product. So if you have the highest value for your product, then you are definitely going to make them feel good. And even if they are the influencers, if you know that you are going to have them as a influencing marketer, then they would definitely, let's suppose, they would definitely do a really good marketing for you. So you need to determine those, and you need to make a proper list of it. And here you have another thing. So map customer acquisition process. Once you know your customer, once you have already defined on the processes of what and how you want to launch the product, but you might think that your product is good to go and it is all set to go to the market. But however, you can see here, there is a person whispering you, saying that actually it doesn't work that way. Companies have a process to buy things, and it takes a while. So I suggest you to learn it and more realistically manage the expectations. So you may never know if you are going to get the customer or not. You might give a demo to the client, you might have already built a product for the client, but holding your hands and just saying that the customer is really happy with the product and they will be buying it, it's not a true decision. So how do we make a process, how customers decision making process? So we just need to map out the process by which a customer decides to purchase the product or not. Suppose if I'm an end user and I have to buy a product, then I would definitely go into the advantages or the pros and cons of the product. I would like to go into more details on what are the new changes that I have in the product and what are the benefits I would be getting. And you need to identify the budget on how, let's suppose if I am the end user, then I will be buying that product, or maybe someone else will be buying the product from me. But for that, you will need to require to know the budget, the regulatory compliances that you need to go down, and that would always make you go with the product and by selling your product too. However, if you do not focus on this, if you do not know your customer, if you do not have the customer's decision making process from your side, or from your perspective, then you might not know that if it's a sellable product in the market or not. So these things are also really important for the continuous innovations and the delivery that we do for the product. So once we know all of these things, we have everything all set up. We know the customers, we know what they want, we know the desires of the customers, we know the end users, we have also categorized all of the customers. Now the time is to create a minimal viable product. That is what we called in lean MVP for your business. So MVP is similar, simply a small chunk of work that you will be working in. But in that case, you just need to think about, you just need to imagine that you have a customer and you are going to go and deal with it. So for any MVP to succeed, you do not have to think, or you do not have to create a whole round of huge product. think big, but start small. So create a hypothesis, which can be the value or the growth hypothesis. Value hypothesis meaning value hypothesis, like it tests whether a product or the service really delivers the value to the customers once they are using or not. So you create your own hypothesis. You could do also the researches on how you want to deal with the customers, but they will not always be true, because they can be influence research as well. So why not to create your own hypothesis for the values and the growth? Growth hypothesis meaning which tests the customers, which tests how new customers will discover your product or services, so that they, you can go and sell your product in the market. Once the program is up and running, and how it will spread among the employees from the initial early adopters, meanings who are going to test it in the market, every new things that are there in the market, to mass adoption throughout the company. So early adopters are the ones who really like to buy and really new product or the new brand that have been launched. So you need to focus on, you need to create hypotheses on the values and the growths. And as I already mentioned about the minimum viable product, just build a chunk of the minimum viable product that you want to continuously deliver to your customer. And create an experience of your first customer. You go and see how your customer is liking it or not, and measure the customers what actually did. First of all, let's suppose you launched a product. Just go and you just go and discuss this same product with your customer. Once they use it, you will go and measure if they like it or not, if they want to have something different product, or they want to have some modifications in the product. I have an example here of Jappos. It is one of the largest online shoe store, which has already been merged with Amazon now. But when it was, it's just started with a simple website. When the founder Nick realized that he just want to have grab of the shoes that he really wants to wear, but he doesn't know where he can buy. So he started with Jappos, an online shoes delivery, shoes store, where it started from a really small and tiny simple product. But now if you go in and look into the Jappos, it is $1 billion company. So that is how you start. You start with taking one step at a time. So lean startup. So we also have fused in, minimal viable products and the lean and the Kaizen, and we also can term it as lean startup, where an organization is designed to create new products under condition of extreme uncertainty, because you don't know what is going to happen next to your product. And the minimal viable products is that version of the product that enables a full turn of the build, measure, learn loop with a minimum amount of the efforts and the least amount of the development type. So MVP product lacks many features, so you do not need to worry about when you are going to launch a very new MVP or a very small MVP of your product for the first time. You can keep on increasing the features later on once you discuss with the client, or once you know the client's experience. So you do not need to worry. You just need to go and launch a product once you are done and you have all set with all of the processes that I mentioned earlier. So as I mentioned about the build, measure, learn loop. So this is the one that you need to really focus on while you are continuously innovating for your business. Once you have already started up your startup, you know that you have the ideas. What you will do is, first step that you will take is you need to plan. In the model, this model is build, measure, learn, and loop. So once you have already known about everything that you need to work on, you need to build the product. Now go and if you follow the sequence and jump in at the build phase, you will be missing the mark. Instead, it's essential to start with the planning stage. So first of all, you will plan for that product, then you will build it. Your goal is here to create a minimal viable product, the smallest possible product that allows you to test your hypothesis. The hypothesis that I created earlier, you already know that you have few of the hypotheses that you need to measure with your MVP. Then build with your MVP. Then the next step is you have a product, you have already built it, now you measure it. So you measure the results that you obtained in step number 2, that's number build, and how this, what actually happened compared to your hypothesis. So is there any sufficient interest in your idea to continue developing it or not? Those data so that you will be able to build a sustainable business around your product or services or not. And definitely you will be collecting all the data, and once that you will get to learn. So by the time, by the process, by the step number 4, you will be, by the time you reach step number 4, that you will reach the step, you will be equipped to make sound evidence-based business decisions, what to do next. So once you have already planned, build, measure, and learn. So this is how it goes continuously on and on for your business, for your startup, if you are going to plan for one. So if you are thinking to really build a startup, and if you are really thinking to continuously improve learning, continuously innovate on how you can do everything else, and by using the same method that I mentioned, like build, measure, learn, and loop, it will just go on looping. So you need to be prepared, because as I already mentioned, the startups tend to fail if they not really go into and focus into the all of the circumstances that I mentioned. So you need always to be ready for the bad news, particularly during your early cycles, building while you are building your new MVPs, and you are in this stage number, at this phase number 2nd MVP. You might get frustrated that you do not have a client yet, or maybe your client didn't like your first MVP. That can be possible, because MVPs, those are the minimal viable product that can be one of the product that may or may not be used by the customer. But that is how you start. You keep on innovating, you keep on adding the features to your other MVPs, and this is simply because you are testing at an early stage of development. That is what I said. And you need to know on your customer and keep on adding value and features to that MVP, and thus it will definitely going to increase the loyalty from your customers, and you will be getting lots and lots of customers like Tapos did. And also we can take a really good example of Elon Musk, who started from a really small thing to now having $1 billion, I guess more than that, a really huge company. So he didn't start from a really huge company. He started from a small company, and continuous innovation is the key for this really high and big successful business. So that's it. Thank you so much for having me here. I would like to thank you, all the participants, for listening to me and remaining your calmness. And definitely, I would like to thank Agile Nepal for providing me this opportunity to present you all and what I know, and I could share my experience. Thank you so much.